This episode of Local Film Talk was recorded in the Green Room at Natty Green's in downtown Raleigh. Perfect for business meetings or just joining friends to watch the big game, the Green Room is the ideal place to host your next event. To learn more, contact David Crack at 919-232-2477 or email David at nattygreens.com. It's worth noting that the Super Femmes actually got you into the LA Webfest.
Correct, sir.
Where you won an award for cinematography, which, obviously we're just talking about some of the seating in some of that lighting in Mab Mort's lab, the colored lights and everything, had a nice, a cool retro look and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the later episodes had a really cool look too. You got some neat costume design and everything. Who designs those costumes anyways?
We kind of come up with what we want to see.
Mm-hmm.
Once we figure out what the characters are, we kind of have an idea where we go with that.
Mm-hmm. Do you start from a point of, like you said, with the other characters or the campy Batman stuff and say, what would an alternate version of this character look like? Or you just try to come up with something completely new?
Yeah. I mean, we take our character Catnips, for example, who's our Catwoman archetype.
What?
Exactly. Hard to figure out.
Oh,
so she's kind of like,
I get it now.
Yeah,
okay.
She's kind of like our Catwoman. So finding a cat suit for her is kind of obvious, right?
Mm-hmm.
But just narrowing it down to the ones that we like the best, that works better on camera, and that works for our series.
Mm-hmm.
Smash Mistress is kind of like our Superman character. So we want an emblem on our chest, red cape, mask, kind of look. You can look at her and know immediately she's a superhero.
Okay.
Right? So. And I kind of come up with the designs for what each character is going to have, and then me and Tim kind of finagle how we get these pieces and put them together.
Okay.
Tim is the prop master on the series.
That's just not just another film festival, but it's not a...
It's a web series. It's a global web series festival. They had people there from all over the globe with their web series.
Okay.
And it was interesting. It was a little different than film festivals in the fact that when you watch a web series, they schedule these blocks to where like 2 or 3 episodes of a web series will play with other like 3 or 4 web series. So you watch one episode of one web series, an episode of another web series, an episode of another web series, and then you circle back to that first web series. And
so you're going to watch like 9 episodes in one sitting?
Well, it only lasts for about an hour, maybe 45 minutes to an hour each screening.
Mm-hmm.
But it was really interesting to watch these scenes because you'd get invested in one web series and another one would come on, and you kind of wait for that story to circle back around.
Did you like that, or do you think it would have been better if they showed 3 episodes of yours and then 3 episodes of this guy's and then 3 episodes of this guy's?
No, I like that format because I felt like it
gave you something to anticipate when you came back around.
It's like if you're watching TV like, on a week-to-week basis. You might have a show on Sunday that you watch. You might have a show on Tuesday that you watch, right? Mm-hmm. So during that week, you have 2 shows that you can watch. There might be a third show. You don't really like that show, right?
Yeah.
But in between that week, you have 2 shows. So in the course of a month, you get to watch this episode. I'll skip this one. And it felt kind of like that in a very shortened span.
But you don't feel yourself like you watch the first show and you're like, that was awesome. And then the second one you're not paying attention to because you keep thinking of the first one.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that'll happen naturally. I mean, you just watch something.
I guess that more replicates what people are going to be doing at home.
If you watch something that's really good and then you come to something that's really not good, it's like, okay, let's get back to where we circled to this one. But, I mean, they scheduled their blocks pretty well. I mean, most everything that they chose to be out there was really good.
Well, like you said, it's an international festival and pretty well known, I guess. How many?
They had the short that what's his name? Chris Jericho is in. They had some other well-known actors. If you saw them, their names, they'd be out there. They're in web series, and so they were out there. It's in LA, so there were a lot of LA web series out there.
I've heard that there's more people, real Hollywood people trying web series, kind of like TV got good, so you had more movie actors doing TV shows, and now you're starting to have. I think it probably started with what was it, The Guild?
Yeah, The Guild. That was a binge web series.
Because that was what's her name, Felicia Day. She was actually a TV actor who did the web series, and I think now you're starting to get people who were in movies or TV actually trying their hand at web series.
Yeah, and you know what? Companies are doing web series as promotional tools too.
That's interesting. The Super Femmes is your only web series, which for a first project, you know, is, will not only say
Were you
going
going
to
say amazing?
Yes, I was going to
felt
say
the same way.
it's very impressive, I feel, but also, you know, in general, you got accolades for it. You won an award at the
We
Webfest.
did win an award,
and
an
that's,
outstanding achievement cinematography for science fiction or fantasy series.
That's very impressive for a first try at it.
Thank you very much. We were very happy to get that.
And you had you
Very
obviously
humbled.
had a lot to learn in the process. What else did you learn at the festival?
Well, we learned at the festival, one of the things was that there's a lot of creative people out there making really good content.
Do you get excited about that, or do you
Yeah,
get
absolutely.
nervous about that?
Absolutely. There's some great folks out of the New York area who are making a great web series called The Crew. If you like The Sopranos, I highly recommend check this out. There's also another great superhero series out there called Justice Woman. Was by Vanessa Verdoga. It's fantastic, and there's just tons of web series around that are really great. My favorite was one called Lock Poop Flush out of China.
Lock Poop Flush?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, there's just all different kind of ideas out there. It's kind of like a Wild West kind of atmosphere for a web series. It's pretty cool.
But I bet it's a lot easier when you get to go to the festival and talk to them and network with all these people. And, you know, like you said, you realize you see somebody do an amazing series and you're like, oh, that guy went to film school, he did all this, he's a genius at this stuff. But you realize they're the same as you.
Yeah,
you know?
that's exactly it. I mean, that's the whole point is when you go to the festivals and you meet these other people, they're doing the exact same thing you're doing. They're in the same trench, working the same ropes with the same, even when you are watching the big Hollywood style kind of web series, you know, that might have bigger acting names attached. It's the same thing that they're doing. They're doing the same exact thing, you know.
So you win the cinematography award.
Yes.
Do you remember any of who else was in the category? Is this like is it like the Academy Awards where
it's
they'll
exactly
show,
like the Academy Awards.
you were sitting in a tux next to Jack Nicholson?
Exactly, yes.
And got a selfie with Ellen?
I did, yeah.
No, I mean, is it something where everybody at the festival is up for all the awards? Or do they narrow it down to like these are the 5 or 6 that are up for this award?
They had categories based on genre.
Okay.
So mine was Outstanding Achievement Cinematography in a sci-fi fantasy genre.
Okay. Now, I know there's a web series in Durham called Frequency.
Yes, the good folks over at Frequency.
And they were out there at the LA web series.
They were,
you?
That's Monique Velasquez and Piper Kessler.
And you actually, I think I saw on Twitter that you actually joined them for a few shoots.
No. They asked me to come out and be an extra.
An extra, okay. They made some comment on Facebook about what a great ad-libber you are. I'm like, Dean's acting now.
I did take an acting class in the 90s, but I am not an actor.
Oh, okay.
They asked me to come out to be an extra, and they needed me to ad-lib some pickup lines, and so I can do that.
Okay.
But they're a lot of fun too. I mean, check those guys out.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different great series.
Yeah.
You got the Super Femmes. They got Frequency. Matt here, of course, has
One Up Kind of Life.
One Up Kind of Life. Well, like I said, we're learning along the way too. Just kind of like you've had to learn along the way with a lot of your stuff.
Still learning. And that's here's the thing I love about filmmaking and anything in general is that the more you do it, the more you realize how much you need to learn. And that's a good thing.
You put a lot of work into the show, and then you got to figure out what to do with it, how you're going to get people to see it.
Right. So we figure there's an audience out there for comic books, superheroes, superheroine videos that have a little bit more of a bite as far as story, characters, development goes.